Hey everybody, Pete Fletcher here. Disney shill, apparently. If you listen to half of Star Wars social media, they're going to tell you that I blindly love everything Star Wars from the Disney era, that I will go to the mat for Kathleen Kennedy, and that I get paid by Disney to like Star Wars. If only that were the case. Look, I am much more positive on Star Wars than negative. Me and my co-host Nick Milkey, if you're new to the channel, please check out some of our other videos. But he and I, we spend most of our time talking about the things we like about Star Wars because we're Star Wars fans. Now, that means that we don't have a million followers and we're not as clickable, but we're honest and real about what we like and don't like about Star Wars. So make sure to check out some of our videos and see what we do, and join us live on Thursday nights when we do the Star Wars news and have great guests and talk about Star Wars, because we are going to talk about what's working and what's not. And today, I'm going to talk about something which may be a little bit controversial, and that is maybe it's time for Kathleen Kennedy to pass the torch at Lucasfilm. Now, before we talk about what needs to be fixed, let's talk about the legacy of Kathleen Kennedy. If you were born after 1970, there is a real good chance that one or more of your favorite movies or franchises have her fingerprints on it. She was involved in The Goonies, E.T., Back to the Future, Gremlins, Indiana Jones. There are so many things that she was involved in that you may not even realize. It's remarkable, actually. Her resume of pop culture is insane. And in fact, she continued that when Disney bought Lucasfilm and she was made president of Lucasfilm. Her work to bring Star Wars back to the cultural zeitgeist that it has always been is admirable, to say the least. She made the sequel trilogy a multi-billion-dollar success. The first film she released as head of Lucasfilm was The Force Awakens, which is the fourth highest grossing film of all time. She helped launch Disney Plus and made it a success and a highly competitive platform through the creation of The Mandalorian. That being said, she has not always been 100% successful, and let's be very realistic about it. So let's have an open and real conversation about some of the challenges. If you go back to Solo, that was a failure at the box office for the first time in Star Wars history. And part of that has to do with the marketing, the understanding of the audience, and timing. That's a leadership problem. You look at the Galactic Starcruiser at Disney World Orlando, a phenomenal idea to immerse fans into the most Westworld type of fan experience, but they misunderstood and miscalculated what the fans wanted and what they were willing to pay for it. And within 2 years, the Galactic Starcruiser came to a close. The Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones #5, was such a box office failure. It may be one of the biggest box office disappointments of all time. And then if you come into 2024 and you look at the streaming situation currently for Star Wars, you have to look at the Acolyte, which, whether you like the show or not, whether you enjoyed the characters and the what the story was about, the time frame, etc., that's irrelevant in the face of financial impact. The show cost anywhere between 230 and 300 million dollars. Its final episode, its finale, had the lowest finale of any live action Star Wars series. On top of that, it divided the fan base in a way that we haven't seen since The Last Jedi. Big challenges from a marketing perspective. And finally, currently we are in the midst of a brand new show called Skeleton Crew, which is being very well received by the fandom. It's unifying people who have been angry at Star Wars for the last several years, saying it's what they've wanted to see, and that it's revisiting their childhood, their Kathleen Kennedy, E.T., Goonies days. It's all happened, and they're loving the show. The problem is, it's not even in the top 10 of streaming shows right now, according to Nielsen. This is a challenge. And what it says is that Star Wars is no longer the slam dunk it used to be. It is no longer bankable that it is going to be a success. And part of that has to do with the fact that perhaps leadership has lost its way just a little bit. Now, again, Kathleen Kennedy needs to be lauded for her success throughout the years. She has cemented her place in cinematic and cultural history. But maybe we should look at who the next person should be in charge of Lucasfilm. A lot of people lean toward Dave Filoni. Now, Dave Filoni is a great storyteller. He learned under George Lucas. He brought to life things like Clone Wars and Rebels and The Bad Batch. and understands stories and Star Wars lore better than anybody else. But I'm not sure that that necessarily makes him a great choice to be the leader of Lucasfilm because of the business decisions that need to go along with that. Another choice that's thrown out there quite a bit is Jon Favreau. Now, Jon Favreau undeniably is a phenomenal filmmaker, and he was instrumental in the launch of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as he created Iron Man. He also helped bring Disney Plus to life by being a major force behind the stories of The Mandalorian and a lot of the live action things happening in Disney Plus Star Wars right now. But again, he's a filmmaker and a storyteller. He may not be the right lead for the studio. So I have two people that I would like to recommend to take over Lucasfilm. Let's look at two people outside the immediate Star Wars creative circle. First, let's talk about Emma Watts, a former creative executive at 20th Century Fox and Paramount Pictures. She's known for her strong leadership in managing large franchises. She was responsible for Avatar and X-Men during her time at 20th Century Fox, and she has worked on projects like Ford v Ferrari at Paramount. Her ability to balance these creative risks with commercial viability makes her really an intriguing candidate for Lucasfilm's future. Bringing in an experienced outsider might just be what the franchise needs. Now let's talk about a more unconventional candidate. Let's talk about Sarah Aubrey. Aubrey is the current head of original content at HBO Max. She's overseen critically acclaimed series like The Penguin, Peacemaker, and House of the Dragon. She understands how to balance audience expectations with high quality storytelling. Her experience in managing these complex narratives and her fresh perspective from outside the Star Wars ecosystem could make her an excellent choice to guide Lucasfilm into the next chapter. Now, as we look back at Kathleen Kennedy's tenure as head of Lucasfilm, there's no denying that there have been many more successes than failures. But it's also important to note that at a certain point, it's time to bring in fresh blood. It's been over 10 years, and it may be time to look at new ways to bring freshness and excitement to Star Wars in a cohesive manner. 2025 is the perfect time to do this as well. If you look at the slate of proposed projects for Star Wars for 2025, it is very light. Now would be the right time to bring somebody new in to sort of cleanse the palate. We have a movie on the way in Mandalorian and Grogu scheduled to launch in early 2026. Use 2025 as an opportunity to right the ship, to focus on moving forward and figuring out the right way to recapture the magic of Star Wars, to unify the fan base and create quality products and move forward with a galaxy far, far away. If you enjoyed this conversation and you want to have more of them, please make sure to join me and my co-host Nick Milkey on Thursday nights for ATG Live, where we cover all the Star Wars news of the week and we interview some of the coolest people in Star Wars, and we take your comments and conversation, make it part of a lively, interactive Star Wars conversation. Hit like, subscribe, and share this video below, and may the Force be with you.